What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I posted my last video, which was a full meal prep, like how I meal prep for a whole week, and everyone was saying that they wanted to see a more in-depth recipe video on like just how I actually make the food, because I had it pre-made in that video to just prep in individual containers, and a ton of you guys were commenting. But I also took a poll on Instagram and everyone was saying that they wanted to see an actual recipe video on how I make the food, so this is gonna be that video. I'm running a little behind on meal prep. Normally I do that on Sundays, but this past week was Memorial Day and I just had a lot of holiday plans and had to try and get my chores and cleaning and everything done around my holiday plans. So I didn't get to meal prep, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to film my meal prep for you guys, or at least this recipe video, before I actually prepped everything. So it's Tuesday and we are meal prepping now, but I just wanted to make sure that I got this video out so you guys can also watch this one before you watch the meal prep, or if you've already seen that one, if not, I'll link it below, and you're like, I really want to make the food that you have in that video, this is the video for you. So I'm gonna get everything ready. I've kind of prepped a few things like cut veggies and chicken up already, but we're gonna get started on our meal prep, so let's just get into it. I tried straightening my hair literally an hour ago and I just had to do it again because it's so humid outside. Ignore that ring light over there. This is gonna be a little more vlog style because I don't have all the time in the world today to just set up everything with a microphone, and I wanted to be able to grab the camera and like show you what I'm doing up close too, instead of keeping it in one spot. So that's kind of what the vibe's gonna be, but it's gonna be just really quick. So if you guys want just a straight to the point type like recipe video, how I make the food, this is for you. Okay, something I try to do ahead of time is at least prep my chicken and veggies and have them like already cut up. So what I did this morning, I wanted to wait to marinate them or like let the seasoning sit until I filmed, because I want to show you what I put in, but I have them cut up into little like bite-sized pieces like that. I just find that it's easier for me to cook and not overcook, but also it's just already cut up for you, so you just cook it and put it in your container and you're good to go. And I'm gonna show you what seasonings I put in for this. Okay, so these are the spices that I'm gonna use. I literally use the same kind of seasonings for everything that I make. All of these, you can screenshot them if you want. Salt, pepper, parsley, onion powder, garlic powder, ranch seasoning, and then lemon pepper. I know you normally put this on like chicken and fish. My boyfriend actually put this on his ground beef one time and I tried it, and it just gives it kind of like a tang. You know how you put like lime on steak tacos? It tastes kind of like that. So I put that on my ground beef, but I don't put that on my chicken or my veggies. But yeah, I'm gonna use these seasonings for everything that I'm cooking today, and then just add this to just the beef, and that's it. In order to make this go a little quicker, I'm using 2 pans. I'm gonna cook my beef and then start on my veggies, like my onion and mushrooms first, while I put the seasonings in my chicken and let that sit for a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna spray with this oil just so everything kind of sticks together better. And then use some tongs and just mix it together. I know a lot of people are gonna ask like what the measurements are for this, and to be honest, I really don't measure things. I just add like a very good amount of seasoning. Salt, I'll usually use, this is probably like 3 full chicken breasts, and I'll use like 6 cracks of it, like 6 to 8 cracks. I will put a little bit more salt on my food when I eat it, but just so it has more flavor, I will have like, I don't even know how many teaspoons or whatever that is, but like if you have a little cracker like this, I usually add between 6 to 10 cracks of salt. And the rest I just add like a lot. I don't go easy on my spices at all because that's what makes it more flavorful, especially if you're eating the same thing every day. You want it to taste good, you know, like you want to look forward to it. And I will try the first batch, like I'll put a little bit on the skillet, start making them, and then see what it needs. Like if it needs a little more salt or garlic or whatever, I'll add more to the batch, but I usually just eyeball it, just add a lot. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It's all mixed together. This is getting very hot. And I'm gonna let that sit while I start cooking my veggies and my beef. I usually go on like medium high heat, and once it heats up, I'll turn it down to like medium low, a little bit below medium to actually cook the food. You don't want it to get too burnt or seared because then it dries out the outside and doesn't cook the inside fully when you're cooking chicken. So for my veggies, I like to sear them a little bit though, so I will add some spray oil and then just let them kind of sit. I'm not gonna mix them up or do anything to them. I'm just gonna throw them in, let them sit, and then so they kind of sear. And that's kind of like how you make fajita veggies, because I like them to be a little like kind of burnt, but not burnt, you know? Okay, so our veggies are cooking and I'm gonna get started on my beef now. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but I used 96 lean ground beef. So there's like a very little amount of fat in it. And I'm gonna add this to my pan on medium high heat. Because this is really low fat, you will need some kind of cooking spray to put down before you put it in the pan, because otherwise it'll stick a lot. So I'm gonna add that to the pan and then put all this stuff on top of it, as well as the lemon pepper that I mentioned. If you haven't tried this before, it sounds weird putting like lemon on your beef, but it's so good, guys. Don't knock it till you try it. Okay, because this is so lean, it will get dry fairly quickly, so I just like to go until I don't see a whole lot of pink. Once I see that it's not raw and it's just a little bit pink, I'll take it off the heat because it continues to cook, and that way it doesn't get super dry. Okay, so we have our onions and mushrooms in their containers. Beef is ready, so I'm just gonna let that cool down before I put it in the fridge. And then I'm working on my second batch of onions and mushrooms in here, but I'm gonna get started on my rice too. If you guys saw last week, I ran out of rice and had to make it again, so I'm gonna make double the amount this time. I do it a little differently than you probably would think, but this is my jasmine rice I have right here, and I have like a sticky note with just like instructions on how to cook it, so don't forget. But I'm gonna add my rice into here. I also spray a little bit of cooking spray at the bottom. If you're able to use oil or butter, it's really good if you use that instead of cooking spray to give it more flavor. But I'll add some cooking spray and then add my rice in first before I add the water and kind of cook it up a little bit, and then I'll add the water in. But I'll also add some spices so it's not just bland rice. Salt, parsley, garlic and onion powder. Mix that all together. I don't know, it just kind of toasts it up a little bit and gives it a little more flavor. And then I'll add the rice in, or the water in, and then boil it. Okay, I have it set on high right now and I covered it to let it boil quicker. But once it's boiling, I'm gonna turn the heat down to low and let it simmer for 15 minutes until all the water's cooked up. And then take it off the heat, let it cool, and then fluff it with a fork. While the rice is cooking, I'm gonna start on my chicken, which is the last thing. I'm also gonna make some potatoes, but I'm not gonna include that just because I already have a video on how I make my air fryer potatoes. I can link that video below too if you wanna see that. I'm gonna switch up the carbs a little bit because I've been having rice for every meal for like the past month. I'm gonna have rice for lunch this week, but then switch up the carb for potatoes for my dinner. But yeah, I'm gonna start on my chicken. chicken, heat up the pan, and then we'll get started on cooking that. But I also have a video on how I cook my chicken and how I make it kind of like seared on the sides and just a little more flavorful. So if you want to see that, I will also link that video below. But I will show you guys. A lot of people were asking after that video how long I cook it for. So I'm gonna time it and see how long it actually takes to cook on each side until they're like ready to take off the heat. So I'll time that and then put that in the screen somewhere while I'm cooking it for you guys. Let's cook the chicken and then we will be done cooking everything, I think. Also, pro tip, don't cover your chicken while you cook it because it makes it chewy. And we don't want chewy chicken, do we? Okay guys, that's gonna wrap up the vlog. I'm just gonna finish cooking my chicken, let everything cool, and then I'll get started on my meal prep. If you haven't seen that video, how I actually go about meal prepping, I'll link the video below. I'll also put a few other videos with recipes for the chicken and potatoes in the air fryer as well. I hope I was able to explain the recipes well enough for you guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment below or reach out to me through my Instagram. I can tend to respond to things quicker that way. I also have a lot of recipes, workouts, and like random health tips. So if you want to check that out and follow me, I'll put that below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.